YouTube? This is Charlie426, and today we have the review of the P-Bandai exclusive or P-Bandai exclusive Master Grade Rigazzi Custom. Now, not many people were aware about this mobile suit, unless you've played certain games or you actually, looked up the wiki. And now I'm really glad that we finally got a actual kit of this mobile suit. Now, I would like to mention this is not like a 2.0 kit compared to the original Master Grade Rigazzi. The best way I can say it's more like a improvement. It's like more of an improvement where it had issues. So it still uses the same original parts here and there, but with also a mixture of new parts. So I guess that you could say it's more of a 1.5 version. But keep in mind, this is not the same mobile suit. That was the Rigazzi. This is the Rigazzi Custom. So either way, let's get on to the review. So I'm just doing this right off the bat, so I'm not really sure how long this review is going to be. But if it gets a little bit too long, I might go on a two-part video where on part 2 I'll show the transformation. Alright, so as usual, let's see what we got. Now, first of all, what you get, of course, is obviously the Rigazzi Custom itself. I brought out the Rigazzi so I can make some comparisons. And here is what you're supposed to get. Let me just lower the camera a bit. So here is what you're supposed to get. Now, number one, mainly most people's reason of buying this kit would be the machine gun. This is a beam machine gun, to be more technical, but that looks like an AK. So yeah, this also has a lot of it has a good amount of like parts onto this, so you can even take off the magazine, which doesn't come off that easily. And then oops, and this part is actually, these brown parts are actually separate pieces, and then there's a sticker on the scope, or yeah. And here we have the trigger finger for the right hand, which I did take out. Okay, I'm just gonna reattach this just to save time. Alright, and then we get these gigantic beam saber effect parts, which the first time, or this is my second time seeing these, because the first time I think it was the Master Grade Double Zeta Ka. So very unexpected. And then we get the shield. Now I believe the shield is practically the same, or at least this the light blue part. The dark blue part might be a bit different in terms of detail or design, but either way, it still has it does still feel a bit heavy. And then here's the inside. We still have the handle, but you're not going to be using this handle, believe it or not. So you're just going to fold it up. Mostly you're going to use this peg system going on here, which is not trying to come out. There we go. And then I believe these parts are actually new because they're actually different designs. Okay, and then we get these parts for. Now I wouldn't say this is a parts forming. This is actually the part that might make some people confusing, but this was actually present in the Rigazzi as well, or something similar. This is basically the part that allows you to connect the shield to the main mobile suit when it's in its Wave Rider mode. So same for this. So this is the main part that is kind of confusing, because how do they get rid of this part when they actually detach? And then okay, here are some action-based connectors. Nothing too special. This is for the mobile suit. This is for the Wave Rider mode, as far as I know. Not gonna demonstrate them anyway. And here are some parts that I actually cut off that are leftovers. I have no idea what they are, but they're present. And then here is a sticker sheet. Now you can see I almost didn't use everything except for the eyes, and then the camera for the AK, and then for the head camera that's on the V-fin. These two are also for the head cameras, but I'll explain why I didn't use them. Here are some red stickers, gold stickers. These black stickers are for the vents on the chest, which I didn't use. I'll show you why. And then here's a sticker that very unexpected, which I will point out later. And then here we have a water slide decal sheet. I haven't used any of them, but they do have a lot of good stuff going on. Okay, and then we get some open hands, and for the no, these are not open hands. These are for the hands for holding the beam saber, which I will show you guys later. The current hands I'm using is the fist hands, and currently on the AK there's the trigger finger hand. Okay, and then here we have the backpack components. Now, despite how it may look on the promo image, the backpack, it's not a whole single piece. It's not a whole Wave Rider just slapped onto the backpack. It's actually like very separated pieces. So you can see These two sides are also separate pieces. That thing is also separate pieces. So everything that goes onto the backpack, they are not a whole single piece. You have to like attach them one by one. And here's a half of it. You can see the wings. I kind of panel lined a little bit here, just because it looked kind of boring. And then yeah, this is where you connect it. And then we have this moving point, which is when in mobile suit mode, this is where how it's supposed to be. But I like to just leave it like this because it looks more natural. And then you have this point where this is the beam saber hilt, and then it also works as a cannon, so which is why it's large and it has a hole there. So yeah, you can also move it like this. I don't think it can go 90 degrees up front, just letting you guys know. And okay, this, you see this gold section? That is where one of the stickers had to go. So that, which is why I decided to just color it in gold. Okay, we're gonna move these to the side. Okay, and now let's get on to the review. Oh, actually, before the review, now we have to talk about the leftover pieces. Okay, sorry about that. So there's a lot of leftover pieces. As I mentioned before, this thing has a lot of a lot of pieces from the original Rigazzi used, and which is why there are some leftover pieces. Number one, here we have a piece from the arms. This is the original arms. Now the missile launcher or grenade launcher that are on the arms, those pieces are exactly the same as these, but they changed the arm design, which is why we have the leftovers from the original arm design. And then I believe should be the wrist joint from the original. No, that's not the original wrist joint, but I forgot what these are, but yeah. And here we have the original BWS or back weapon system, the front part of the original Rigazzi. Okay, let's see what we got. We have another one. We have the original inner frame of the Rigazzi legs. A lot of these small thrusters going on. These parts, which I cannot remember what they are. This seems to be one of those cannon parts from the original BWS. Okay, here we have two of the same plates. So we have two of the same plates. So I'm just gonna show you guys one. Okay, let's see. We have the original side inner frame of the Rigazzi. This part, I think they might be the shoulder area. Not sure what that part is. Could be like a thruster connector, but yeah. Okay, here we have, well, I wouldn't consider this a leftover piece. This is just like, it's kind of a more template hand for most mass grade these days. So the hands on these are the type of hands where you use only the interchanging fingers going on. So we have trigger fingers, normal grabbing, multi-purpose hands, open hands, some interframe hands. So these are mostly leftovers. Okay, here we have another part. This one's actually from the original Rigazzi plate as well. The BWS connecting parts here and there. The original hand parts of the Rigazzi. Which was one of the main issues of the kit, of course, because the Rigazzi, the mold itself was okay. It was just most of the issues would come from the equipment. So we have another repeat of these parts and this one. Okay, and then here we have two of the same plates. So I'll just show you guys one. So we have the original leg outer armor, shoulder armor, side armors, and here and there arms, and yeah, so mostly from the original Rigazzi. And then some leftover polycaps. Nothing too special. Okay, now let's get on to the review. So first of all, I think just to get rid of that Rigazzi right over there, let's just start with the comparison before I go on to the articulation. Articulation was okay for the original Rigazzi, I believe, because of the transformation. Like the arm articulation was pretty okay for at the time. So here we have some comparisons. So obviously there has been a lot of changes, obviously, because it's a custom version of the mobile suit. So obviously the head is now more Gundam-ish looking. We have more vents on the chest, and it is a little bit more taller as far as I can tell. Also, to explain this, the stickers, now we have the eyes, and then you can see on the V-fin itself there's a sticker on the middle. That one I used. And then the head camera, now the inside of the head there were these clear pieces, and I thought it would be waste to just slap a sticker on top of it, so I decided to use a green Gundam marker to color them. Same goes for the back of the same goes for the back of the head over there. I'm not sure if you can see that, but you can see that part. You can see that's also a clear area, so I just decided to color it. And then for the chest vents, yeah, those black areas I colored. They told you to put the sticker on it, but I just thought, I think I'll just color in black. Granted, on the stickers they had these silver markings on them, but yeah, just my personal preferences, of course. So okay, so obviously the overall design is different. The shoulder design is different. The main body is different. Everything is pretty much different, but the build template is pretty much like kind of similar, but with some changes onto them. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for the comparison. Like, the backpack definitely got way more colorful and way more bigger, of course. The only thing I shouldn't mention that this Rigazzi custom does not have would be this, the backpack for the storing in the beam sabers like this, because now it's on the BWS system or kind of thing. Yeah, so it's really kind of unnecessary to compare it with the original Rigazzi at this point. Okay, so let's see what's the head articulation. I actually really like the head, definitely, and another reason why I like this head more is that because on the original Rigazzi Master Grade and the HGU CZ, attaching their not their V-fins, but their antennas on their head were very hard. Okay, so it can go down that much. The red chin definitely has a large surface area amount. It can go up that much, and then 360, it should be possible as well. Oops. Now, in this time I didn't break anything, unlike the Master Grade Alex 2.0, but I was cautious, so I may have over sanded a few pegs, which, like this one, the shoulder is moving a little bit too easily. Yeah, that's my fault. It's not supposed to be that loose. I kind of sanded down a little bit too much. Okay, so for as mentioned, these are the black vents are stickers. You can open the cockpit to reveal the pilot. Now it's just a typical pilot suit, so I can't say if it's Amuro or not, but yeah. Which is why I would like to see a 2.0 version of Rigazzi, because it was used by Amuro originally. So let's look at the shoulders first. The shoulders can move forward and backward like that. Same goes for the other one. The shoulder is actually connected to the main arm, so it's not like a separate thing going on here. You have these flaps that can move, and there is some panel lining I did, and then those are all color separated pieces on the inside for those thrusters. Same go for here and the back. The arms can move, oops, trying to be very careful here. The arms can move 90 degrees to the side, and then you can move the entire arms 360 if you don't attach the BWS system, of course. And then, oops, come on. And then a 360 twist on the arm itself is possible. And then for the grenade launcher, they're still present. You can still open them up if you want to do so. So yeah, it's still present, and those are actually from the original part, so nothing too different. It's just the arm design kind of changed a bit, but yeah, the insides should be pretty similar as well, and you have a nice double jointed bend going on here. Okay, and the body, you have a nice ab crunch going on here, and the main connection between the waist and the main body is a ball joint. 360 twist, I wouldn't say if it's naturally possible. You're gonna have to like kind of force it, but I do not recommend that as well, because a mobile suit doesn't really need to twist their waist 360 at the first place. And then let's look at the backpack. Now this is just the part of the backpack which I'll show you guys in more detail. One of the stickers that I mentioned that has to be covered up is this area. It has to be the same color as these light blue colors right over here, which I found a little bit unnecessary. So keep that in mind. So the way how this works is that you can flip it over, and then you need to push one more time to. It doesn't really actually cover the entire head. It's just like there. So when you see the transformation, you might have a feeling where it's just literally you could just say the BWS system is literally just slapped onto the back. Okay, now let's get the waist. Now attaching all these thruster parts were not that fun, but hey, it does provide a lot of colored, separate pieces as well, or effects. Now, the original had a missile launcher or grenade launcher on the side. This one now has one of those Zeta Plus beam cannons on the waist section. Not bad, but I also kind of enjoyed the grenade launcher effect parts for those. So they are on pegs, so they can only move a little bit to the side, but can rotate 360 if you want to do so. And here's one of the changes. Back then, this was a whole single piece, So there was no side swivel, but now, well, come on, there is now a side swivel going on, but very stiff, as you can see. And the front skirts are separate pieces. They're not the, you know, come in single pieces kind of thing. The leg connection is still a ball joint. I would like to mention that. Because of that, the legs don't go to the side that much, to be honest. But it has a nice, it can go forward 90 degrees up front, and then has a nice double jointed bend. The back skirt also does flap a good amount, so you can go a little bit to the back as well if you want to do so. And the side skirts, they're technically connected to the side, or not the side, yeah, the side. So no need to like worry about some limitations on that. And then if you look at inside here, there's some locking mechanisms in here. There's still the same mechanism where you have to unlock something and then change the position of the leg connection. And then the legs have a nice double jointed bend, and then we have the nice red thrusters going on. The red part might come out a little bit easy when you try to transform, so you might need to be careful. You can still fold up the feet for transformation purposes, but they're still the same ball jointed feet. So the feet, I believe there hasn't been a change on the feet yet. Okay, so the video is kind of getting long. We're already at 16 minutes, so I think I'll make a part 2 for the transformation. Okay, so now let's look at the accessories. So first of all, everybody's favorite, the AK. It connects pretty well, and I am really glad they changed the hand for this, because the original hand, oh, it could not even hold its own beam rifle, which was very sad, to be honest. If there's one thing I don't like in terms of like kits, is that, oh, for God's sakes, if there's one thing I really don't like, is that certain about like, not about necessarily about old kits, but if I really hate it when a mobile suit cannot hold its own weapon. That is one thing I extremely hate. It's like, that's like, what's the point then, having the weapon? Okay, here we have connected. Now, I think it's missing the back stock, or depending on how you look at the design, but yeah, either way, it holds it very well. As long as you get in the connection, it is a firm grip. Now, I know a lot of people don't like these type of hands, but the individual moving finger hands, as much as they look, you know, free, and then, you know, they're more articulated, but they most of the time they have issues holding the weapon firmly. Now, some people claim, no, I don't have any weapon, I don't have problems with those hands, but to me, I always had, so oh well. Okay, now let's look at the beam saber. So I'm gonna take out from the backpack one. And then, okay, so this is the part where the cannon is supposed to fire, I believe. So, which is why the lower section should be the part that connects. And then it also has a hole and peg system. There's the hole, there's the peg. Oh boy. Now the beam saber is too long to the point where it's colliding with my setup. But once again, if you hold it, once you have connected, you have no problem at all. Very long beam saber. The handle is a bit fat, so I assume they will hold it in two hands usually, I would assume, in real life, but yeah. Alright, so after that, let's get the shield. As I mentioned, for the shield, you're not going to use that handle, but you're going to use this part right over here. So if you look at the arm, there's actually a hole there, which actually has a polycap inside. This was pretty much the same as the original Rigazi, so yeah, it can hold it pretty well. Now the shield is kind of on the heavy side, and it can only attach to the side, so posing it might be a little bit tricky, but it works as well, time to time. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the basics of the mobile suit itself. There has been a lot of changes to the point where it's not really necessary to compare it, because it's overall new design, but kind of same parts here and there on the inside. Okay, this was part 1 for the review of the mobile suit itself. So I'll be now filming the part 2 for the Wave Rider transformation sequence. That should be very short, just letting you know. So until then, see you guys next time!